I've been struggling to find what to place on the wall behind me for the longest time now. There used to be a TV mounted up there ages ago, but with me not really watching TV, the only thing that remained was the mount. To be fair, it was pretty useful. I used to hang a selfie stick up there with my phone as a webcam, and more recently, I've been using a super clamp with my camera to use as a webcam. But using this setup as my backdrop for all my videos, I wanted to add something so it wouldn't look so bland. Also, I've been running out of space to store things, so this just kills two birds with one stone. I got inspiration from Becky and Chris's charge bowl video, and I thought that this would be the perfect thing and the most simple thing to add. Now let me show you how I made it, how you can make it, and why I would never do a DIY pegboard ever again. Speaking of which, just buy them pre-made. There are many inexpensive options out there. The IKEA Skatis is very popular, as well as a whole variety of shapes, forms, and styles on Amazon. My board specifically has 1280 quarter-inch holes which I drilled by hand. I could have spaced it differently for less holes, but I think it was worth it in the end. It is a huge undertaking, and I will get into the details on how long it took in a bit. But if you're crazy enough to do it by yourself, which I do think it will look better that way, here's what you need. Measuring tape, a drill, the board or boards you'll be using, an open space to drill because there's a lot of sawdust, some type of stand to hold the boards, do not use tripods, a pencil, and maybe a saw. First things first, find out what dimensions you want or need. This is one of the reasons why I made my own. I couldn't find anything that fit my need for under $100. You could buy a few boards and place them together, or you could buy a bigger board and cut it to tailor your specific need. I'm assuming you're watching this part because you want to DIY it, so I'll keep it short. Once you have your board, we'll be making a grid to figure out where to place each hole. There's not a set standard for either the hole or the placement, but in my case, I went for quarter-inch holes and spaced them at around 2.5 centimeters each or around 1 inch. If you space them out wider, this will mean less drills to hole, so if you have a large surface, keep that in mind. When you finish your grid, now it's time to drill. Wood drill bits have a sharp tip so you can insert it in the wood. Remember to always be using the best tool for the job. It took me around 4 sittings at around 5 to 10 seconds a hole, and there's 1280, so you can do the math. It took a really long time. The wood that I used was a bit thicker at around 9 millimeters, so it was more of an effort to drill through it. My reason for this was that I would be hanging heavier and expensive technology, so I wanted to have something that was stable, durable, and well worth the effort. You'd think you'd be finished once you're done drilling, and if you're using this for a rugged workspace, you probably are. But since I was using this for my backdrop and my setup, I needed to make it look a bit better. Going on to step 2, we'll be fixing and sanding any mistake that we made in step 1. First, let's get rid of the grid. Hopefully you used a pencil, so grab an eraser and just erase it. This is a bit extra, but to fix the holes, you will need a motor tool. I ordered one on Amazon, but if you've been following me for a while, you know that currently I'm living in Colombia, and the country's going through a period of social unrest and protests, so it took a little while to get here. Fix any type of imperfection with the sanding tool, and don't worry about the back. That will be our little secret. Sand it for a smoother surface, and now you can decide whether you want to paint it or seal it. I'm going for a more basic, rustic look since it does fit my desk neatly. That means I won't be painting it. But that might change in the future, so don't be surprised if you see it in a different color. There are a few ways to hang it. You can either thread a screw through the hole and then drill a hole on the wall and place it, or you can use something like a hanger and frame it like a picture frame. It's really just your choice. Now on to the fun part. Let's start adding the tech. I mentioned Becky and Chris's charge wall as inspiration, so I bought this. It's just a power strip, but the cool thing about it is it has 3 normal USB charging ports as well as a USB-C port. This is what will be powering pretty much everything. To get it in place, you can either choose zip ties, double-sided tape, pegs, overpriced pre-made hangers on Amazon, or if you have a 3D printer, you can make your own. There's a large variety of things out there, so it's just down to your imagination. Having everything out of the way at arm's length just eases my anxiety, and it really fills that void of something that I needed. It also makes recording videos much easier since I have everything in a set space and I can just grab it, use it, and hang it up again if I ever need to use it again. But since this is my recording space and I'm using that as a backdrop, I needed to spice things up a little bit. which is where the Gobi strip lights come into play. It might be a little too much for some people, but illuminating the backdrop and the background in a subtle way is something that I really needed. Also, I do like RGB, the colors just contrast really well with the background. I do tend to leave it with a white hue, it's just there to brighten up the place. Designing a tech board is supposed to be personal, and there's 1,000 ways to do it. It really just depends on what tech you have and what you need to be placed at arm's reach to grab it. Whether you're going for a more productive setup or if you just want to showcase something for aesthetic purposes, it's down to your choice. I meant mine to be 80% organization, 15% aesthetics, and 5% RGB. Going a bit more into detail, this is the charging area. It's just a spot to keep everything connected, neat, and tidy. From the bottom, we have my RF controller, the power strip hub, and my camera batteries, which are attached by Velcro so I can easily remove them and place them in my bag. My Godox SL60 controller is also placed with Velcro for easy removal, and I finally found a decent place for the Echo Dot to be. From the hub, we go above, and this is probably my favorite piece on the board. On a ball head, I've managed to add my dad's old camera. This is a 30-year-old Canon EOS 1000. And on top of that, we also have my girlfriend's old camera. It's just incredibly aesthetic, and I really like the mood that it gives the whole tech board. From there, we go to the bottom middle. These are some miscellaneous trays that I've 3D printed. It's mainly here for storage and to keep me from losing things that I might need in the future. Above the trays, we have the Maonocaster light as decoration, but I don't know if I'll be keeping it there. I just don't quite love the look. You might have also seen the empty space above. This space is for something in the future that hasn't arrived yet. And finally, all my tripods or mounts, and the unspoken hero of this tech board, a double-sided tape. I just can't live without it anymore. And here's the final product. The important thing is that I removed the TV wall mount, which I've had for years. I've covered up the boring wall, and now we have a cool little RGB backlit thing that will be useful for videos. I've set a place to store all my gear at, and there's a bit more lighting so I can get a better contrast from the background to me to the lights to everything for recording. If you're wondering how much it costs, disregarding the RGB, the power strip, and buying all the power tools, it was basically free since I did recycle the board. Moreover, the time spent was a bit too much, and if you add it up, it was really not worth it for my time. Having a 3D printer does reduce the cost since I do not have to buy any type of hangers, shelves, or just hooks that everyone needs to place their things on a pegboard. You can get around this by using either double-sided tape or zip ties. It really just is for aesthetic purposes. The question is, would you add this to your setup? Being as versatile as it is for productivity, aesthetically, I think it can match any type of working or entertainment environment that you have. I am incredibly happy with how this turned out, but 100% would not do it again. I'm very glad that I decided to do this project, but I'm even more glad that it's finished. But I'll leave the question out to you. How does this look? Do you think pegboards are a good way to organize things, or do you think that it's just too mainstream and everyone's doing it? Let me know in the comments down below. If you got this far into the video, remember that a like and a sub go a long way. I'm gonna go find out what my next project is. I'll see you next time.